Sometimes the mercy you beg Allah for doesn't arrive when you expect it because it's still becoming something far better than what you asked for. There are moments in life when the heart grows tired of waiting, when every dua feels unanswered, when every door seems closed, and when silence from the heavens begins to feel heavier than the tests themselves. This story begins with such silence. A man whose life had always been steady suddenly found himself standing at the edge of uncertainty. His plans were collapsing one by one, his efforts were failing, and his prayers seemed to linger in the air unanswered. Yet deep within his heart still whispered, Allah knows, Allah sees. But even a believer, no matter how strong, can feel the weight of delay, and it is in these moments of quiet heartbreak, of trembling patience, that Allah's hidden mercy starts to unfold gently, silently, and exactly on time. This is the story of how a single delay changed everything. A reminder that what feels like a setback is often Allah preparing a blessing far greater than what we imagined. The story follows a man named Hammad, a simple believer whose life had always been quiet, steady, and ordinary. He lived in a small town, surrounded by fields that changed color with every season. His days were humble, early mornings, long hours of work, and evenings spent in quiet prayer. He was not wealthy, but he was content. He was not powerful, but he was grateful. Yet, sometimes, even the most grateful hearts are tested with the greatest delays. For months, Hammad had been waiting for a breakthrough, a job opportunity that he believed would finally bring ease to his aging parents, stability to his household, and dignity to his efforts. He had applied, prepared, prayed, and hoped. Every morning began with a dua, and every night ended with the same request whispered into the unseen. "Ya Allah, open this door for me." But the door remained closed. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into long, stretching months. Each time he expected an answer, he received silence. Each time he imagined relief, he met disappointment. As time passed, the pressure of providing for his family tightened around him like a rope. His savings thinned. His energy faded. His certainty wavered. And yet, he never complained to anyone. His heart, though tired, held on to a fragile thread of Sabr. Because believers don't break easily. They bend, they tremble, they fall to their knees, but they don't break. Allah holds them. Still, the test grew heavier. His mother's health weakened. His younger siblings looked to him for support. His responsibilities doubled, but his resources did not. Some nights, he sat outside under the fading glow of the evening sky, wondering why the help he desperately needed was not arriving. He questioned his efforts, questioned his worth, and for a moment, even questioned whether he was forgotten. But Allah never forgets a heart that calls him. Hammad's delay was not a punishment. It was a preparation for something he could not see, a mercy he had not imagined, a path he did not know he was walking. Yet, at that time, all he could feel was the weight of waiting. His neighbors would sometimes ask gently about his situation. He would simply smile and say, "Inshallah, Allah will open a way." They didn't know the storm he hid behind that calm smile. They didn't know the nights he spent awake, staring at the ceiling, whispering duas with trembling hands. Still, he rose every day. Still, he prayed every day. Still, he believed every day. Because he had learned from his father that delays are not denials. They are divine rearrangements. They are Allah holding something back until it becomes good for you. But lessons are easier said than lived. One evening, after another disappointing message about the job he hoped for, Hammad felt his heart sink deeper than before. His chest tightened, and for the first time, tears slipped quietly down his face. Not from anger, but from exhaustion. From carrying too much for too long. He sat alone in the stillness of the night, the world asleep around him, and whispered, "Ya Allah, I don't understand, but you know." It was a moment of surrender, not of giving up, but of giving in to Allah's wisdom. A moment where his heart began to shift from, "Why is this happening to me?" to "Allah must have a reason." And that is the moment when Allah's plan began to unfold. Unseen, silently, and with a mercy that was still hidden from him. Little did Hammad know, the delay he was struggling with was the very thing protecting him from a hardship he could not handle. The prayer he thought was unanswered was being answered in a way far greater than he imagined. And the job he thought he lost was nothing compared to what Allah was preparing for him. The story of his test was about to take a turn only Allah could write. Hammad's test reached its peak on a day he never expected. A day that felt like the final breaking point. It was early morning when he received a message that shattered the last piece of hope he had been holding. The company he had been waiting months for, preparing for, praying for, had finally announced its decision. But instead of the long-awaited acceptance, it was a short, cold rejection. No explanation. No encouragement. Just, "We regret to inform you." For a moment, Hammad just stared at the message, unable to breathe. It wasn't just about the job. It was about what the job represented. Relief, stability, dignity, a chance to provide, a chance to breathe again. But now it was gone. He stepped outside, the weight pressing so heavily on his chest that even the air felt thick. The sky above him was gray and heavy, mirroring the storm inside him. For the first time in years, he felt himself losing strength, losing direction, losing the little light he had been holding on to. He strolled toward the old masjid at the edge of his town, the one he had visited since childhood. Its worn stones, its quiet doors, its stillness, everything about it felt like a place where hearts had broken before and healed before. Inside, the masjid was empty, silent. He sat in the last row, lowered his head, and let his tears finally fall freely. Not tears of weakness, tears of a servant who had tried and tried, and tried, but still felt no ease. In that moment, Hammad felt as though life had come to a full stop. He prayed, not with eloquent words, not with long du'as, just a single line from a trembling heart. "Ya Allah, if this delay is a mercy, show me the way." That was the moment when everything changed. Not instantly, not dramatically, but subtly, like the first light before dawn. As he sat in the quiet masjid, an old man entered leaning on a cane. Hammad knew him, someone respected in the community, someone who rarely left his home, due to age. The old man sat beside him, without asking questions, without offering sympathy. Just companionship. Quiet, gentle companionship. And then he spoke, softly, like someone sharing a truth he had lived through. There are delays that protect you from harm, and delays that prepare you for what is better. Allah hides the wisdom until your heart is ready to receive it. The words pierced Hammad's heart, not because they were new, but because they came at the exact moment he needed them. The exact moment Allah had written. The old man told him that he had been searching for someone trustworthy, someone responsible, consistent, honest, to manage a new project he was about to launch. He said he had observed Hammad for years. His character, his patience, his sincerity, and he wanted him to take the lead. Hammad blinked in disbelief. A project? From someone so respected? Coming at the exact moment he felt broken? But Allah's timing is perfect, always perfect. The old man handed him the details. It was an opportunity far better than the job he had spent months chasing. Better salary, better purpose, better environment, closer to home, closer to his family, closer to everything he needed. Yet the true miracle wasn't the job offer. It was the realization. Hammad suddenly understood. If Allah had allowed him to get that first job, the one he begged for, he would have been far away from his parents, under constant pressure, and stuck in an environment that would have harmed him more than helped him. Allah had shielded him, protected him, redirected him. Every delay had been a mercy. Every closed door had been a blessing in disguise. Every unanswered prayer had been answered, just not in the way he expected. He felt something in his heart shift, something heavy lifting, something broken healing, something lost returning. For the first time in months, Hammad smiled, not because life was suddenly easy, but because he finally understood that Allah had been with him all along. He rose from the masjid floor with a heart lighter than it had been in years. The test had not ended, but the wisdom behind it had finally been revealed. And with that revelation came peace. The days that followed felt different for Hammad. Not because life suddenly became perfect, but because his heart had changed. The knots of fear that once tightened his chest had loosened. The storm that once darkened his mind had begun to clear. For the first time in a very long time, he walked with a sense of calm certainty, a quiet trust in the one who had written every moment of his journey. The new opportunity unfolded smoothly. What he once chased tirelessly was now coming to him with ease, sent by Allah at the time it was meant to arrive. The old man guided him gently, believing in his sincerity and trusting him with responsibilities greater than he ever imagined. And Hammad worked, steadily, humbly, gratefully, not for recognition, not for praise, but because he now understood that every step he took was part of Allah's plan for him. The income he earned began to bring comfort to his home. His mother's treatment improved. His siblings no longer carried the weight of worry in their eyes. And his father, who had silently felt the burden of the family's struggles, now saw hope returning to their household. But the true blessing wasn't the job or the money or the ease. The true blessing was the peace that settled in Hammad's heart, a peace that only comes when you finally trust Allah's timing more than your own desires. Sometimes, Allah delays something you want, not to hurt you, not to test you without purpose, but to protect you from what you can't see, and to prepare you for what you're meant to receive. Looking back, Hammad realized that every moment of waiting had shaped him. Every disappointment had strengthened him. Every tear had purified him. Every delay had taught him to lean on Allah in a way he never would have learned through ease. He often remembered the night he sat in the masjid asking Allah, "If this delay is a mercy, show me the way." And now, living through the unfoldings of destiny, he understood that Allah had been showing him the way all along, through silence, through patience, through careful protection. Hammad now walked with a deeper awareness that Allah's plan is written with wisdom, that his delays carry hidden kindness, and that what is meant for you will always arrive, not early, not late, but exactly when your heart is ready to receive it. He learned that when a believer surrenders their timeline to Allah, Allah gives them something far greater in return, a heart that trusts, a soul that rests, and a destiny that unfolds with divine timing. And so, his story did not end with success. It ended with understanding. Understanding that every delay was a blessing. Every setback was a redirection. Every unanswered dua was a better answer waiting on the horizon. This was the hidden mercy behind every delay, the mercy he once feared, the mercy he now cherished. And dear listener, Hammad's journey is not just a story. It is the story of every heart that has waited, prayed, and wondered why Allah's help hasn't arrived yet. It is the story of every believer who has whispered dua after dua into the silence of the night, hoping for a door to open, only to see it remain closed. But remember this truth: Allah's delays are never rejections. His silence is never neglected. His timing is never wrong. Sometimes Allah holds something back because the path you're asking for would harm you. Sometimes He delays a blessing until it becomes safe for your heart. And sometimes He gives you something far better than what you cried for. Only when the moment is right, only when you are right for it. The greatest peace arrives when you stop rushing destiny and start trusting the one who writes it. So, if you are waiting today, if your heart is tired, if your prayers feel unanswered, know this: Allah is not finished with your story. The delay you fear may be the very mercy that saves you, and the blessing you seek may be closer than you think. Crescent Moon Dua. Ya Allah, grant us hearts that trust your timing, even when we don't understand it. Grant us the patience of those who know you are always working in our favor, even in silence. Protect us from paths not written for us, and guide us gently toward the destiny that carries your mercy. Replace our fears with faith, our restlessness with peace, and our worries with reliance upon you. Oh, Allah, make every delay in our lives a doorway to something better, and let our stories end in goodness, in gratitude, and in closeness to you. Ameen.